My CPS client attacked me in front of his terrified daughter, who later ended her life because of him. So I teamed up with his wife to expose him, and we found out that his disturbing secrets were way more terrifying than we ever imagined. I worked as a social worker for 10 years, and retired when my reports went nowhere. When I was finishing high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do. All I knew was that I needed a job, I liked helping people, and my grades weren't the best. And that's how I decided to become a social worker. The course was filled with girls who were a mixed bundle, to say the least. Some of them, maybe like 3, were nice girls who wanted to help humanity. The rest of them were complete bullies that I tried to avoid like the plague. Go figure. Fast forward 4 years later. I got my degree and was assigned to work in CPS for $30,000 a year with 14-hour shifts. And don't get me wrong, I know it was the path I had chosen, but it still sucked. A lot. Because even aside from the pay, what I see every day is enough to bring some people to their knees. Kids being struck with no way out. Parents lighting their offspring on fire. Infants found in conditions that could unalive a grown man. And the worst part was, I couldn't even do anything. It was like the systems in place were designed to make as little change as possible. But of course the families didn't see it that way. And they always blamed us. And thanks to the paperwork system, for every hour I spent with a family, I'd spend 3 documenting everything in triplicate. The software was from 1995, crashed constantly, and if you forgot to save every 5 minutes, you were screwed. I'd write these detailed reports about kids with cigarette burns, malnutrition, and watch them disappear into some bureaucratic black hole. My supervisor, Linda, had been there 25 years and had perfected the art of looking concerned while doing absolutely nothing. You have to understand, she'd tell me, lighting her 15th cigarette of the day, reunification is always the goal. Even when reunification meant sending a toddler back to parents who'd broken his arm twice. The worst cases were the ones where you knew something terrible would happen. This one family, the Johnsons, had more red flags than a communist parade. Dad had a violent record, mom was deep in denial, and their 7-year-old daughter Katie would flinch whenever anyone raised their hand. I filed report after report, visited twice a week, begged my supervisor to push for removal. Not enough evidence, Linda said. The home is adequate. They're completing their parenting classes. Parenting classes always ticked me off, as if sitting in a room for 2 hours learning about positive discipline would fix someone who saw their child as a punching bag. The other families on my caseload weren't much better. Single moms who aged 10 years in one, trying to work 3 jobs while their kids raised themselves. Grandparents suddenly caring for 6 grandkids because their adult children were lost to the substance crisis. Foster families who were clearly in it for the monthly check. And through it all, us social workers were the enemy. We were either doing too much or not enough, taking kids away or leaving them in danger. My coworkers were burning out left and right. Sarah quit after a baby on her caseload died. One she'd flagged for emergency removal 3 times. Marcus started drinking heavily after testifying in court for the 100th time, only to watch another abuser get unsupervised visitation. In my office of 12, I was considered a veteran after just 2 years. The Johnson case haunted me the most. I knew something was building. Dad was getting angrier during visits. Mom was coaching Katie on what to say. Then came that Tuesday evening. A neighbor had called about screaming, and I had to do an emergency home check. I should have brought the police. That's what the protocol said. But they'd stopped responding to our calls unless there was immediate danger. And by the time you could prove immediate danger, it was usually too late. So I went alone. When I knocked, Mr. Johnson answered, reeking of alcohol. Mom was nowhere to be seen. Katie was in the